spooky story The Malevolent Mirror. In the heart of the ancient town of Ravenswood, there stood a mansion that was known far and wide as Blackwood Manor. Its imposing facade loomed over the cobbled streets, casting a long shadow that seemed to stretch to the edge of the surrounding forest. For centuries, the mansion had been the source of chilling tales and whispered legends. But none were as haunting as the story of the Malevolent Mirror. The legend spoke of a cursed mirror that hung in a forgotten chamber of Blackwood Manor. It was said that the mirror held the power to reveal the darkest truths of those who gazed upon it, exposing their deepest fears and hidden secrets. But the mirror did not stop at mere revelation. It was believed to be a malevolent force, capable of manipulating reality itself. The townspeople spoke of the mirror in hushed tones, warning of its power and urging all who heard to steer clear of Blackwood Manor. They claimed that the mirror's curse had brought tragedy upon those who dared to look into its depths, leaving them forever changed. Among those who had heard the tales was Samuel, a scholar with a penchant for the occult and a fascination for forbidden knowledge. The legend of the malevolent mirror intrigued him, and he felt an inexplicable pull towards the mansion's looming facade. Samuel had spent years delving into the mysteries of the supernatural, studying ancient texts and seeking out hidden knowledge. He believed that within the walls of Blackwood Manor lay a truth that needed to be uncovered, a truth that held the key to unlocking the mirror's curse. As the days turned to weeks, Samuel immersed himself in the history of the mansion. He spoke with locals, gathering fragments of the story, and pored over dusty archives in search of clues. The more he learned, the more convinced he became that the malevolent mirror held the key to unraveling the mysteries of Blackwood Manor. One moonless night, unable to resist the allure any longer, Samuel made his way to the mansion. The air was heavy with a palpable sense of foreboding, and the distant cry of an owl seemed to forewarn of impending darkness. As he stood before the mansion's grand entrance, Samuel could feel the weight of history pressing down on him. He pushed open the creaking doors, their rusty hinges protesting in protest. The interior was suffused with a dim, eerie light, and the air seemed to hang heavy with the echoes of the past. Samuel's footsteps echoed through the empty halls as he ascended the stairs to the upper floors. He could feel a sense of anticipation building within him, a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Finally, he stood before the door to the chamber that housed the malevolent mirror. The wood was weathered and worn, and the air around it seemed to hum with an otherworldly energy. Samuel took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay beyond. He pushed open the door, revealing a room bathed in an unearthly, silvery light. The walls were adorned with ancient symbols, their meaning known only to those who had delved into the darkest realms of the occult. As Samuel entered the chamber, a sudden drop in temperature sent a shiver down his spine. A sense of watchful malevolence that seemed to hang in the air. And then, as if in response to his presence, the atmosphere seemed to shift. The room seemed to come alive, as if the very walls themselves held the power to awaken the mirror's curse. A soft, disembodied voice echoed through the chamber, its words a haunting incantation that seemed to reverberate in Samuel's bones. He could feel the energy of the mirror building, a palpable force that seemed to reach out to the beyond. And then, with a blinding flash, the mirror's curse was unleashed. The chamber seemed to pulse with an otherworldly light, casting long, twisted shadows on the walls. Samuel could feel the presence of the mirror around him, its energy swirling like a tempest. As the curse reached its climax, a figure began to materialize within the mirror's depths. It was a woman, her form translucent and ethereal. Her eyes, though filled with a mixture of sorrow and longing, held a piercing intensity. "You've summoned me," she whispered, her voice a soft, haunting melody. "Why have you called me forth?" Samuel's voice caught in his throat, but he found the strength to speak. He explained his quest for knowledge, his belief that the answers he sought lay within the malevolent mirror. The spirit's gaze met Samuel's, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. There was a profound sadness in her eyes, a sense of longing that sent a pang through Samuel's heart. "My name is Elara," she said, her voice carrying a weight of centuries. "I was once a resident of this mansion, bound to it by a terrible fate, of a life cut short by dark forces beyond her control." She spoke of a forbidden romance, of a pact that had been made in desperation, and of the malevolent mirror that had forever altered the course of her existence. As Samuel listened, he felt a surge of compassion for Elara. He could sense the weight of her suffering, the torment of being trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. Determined to help Elara find peace, Samuel delved into the history of the mansion. He sought out old journals and hidden chambers, piecing together fragments of a story that had long been buried in the annals of time. With each discovery, Samuel felt a sense of urgency building within him. He knew that he held the key to unraveling the mysteries that had bound Elara to the mansion for so long. Finally, on a night much like the one that had witnessed the fateful summoning, Samuel and Elara stood before the room where it had all begun, with a sense of purpose and a heart full of hope. Samuel recited the incantation that would bridge the gap between the living and the dead. As the final words left his lips, a surge of energy pulsed through the chamber. The walls seemed to tremble, as if the very foundation of the mansion itself was responding to their presence. And then, with a blinding flash, the chamber seemed to come alive. The air was charged with an otherworldly energy, and Samuel felt a profound shift in the atmosphere. Elara's form began to dissolve, her face transformed into an expression of peace and serenity. She reached out to Samuel, her fingers brushing against his. "Thank you," Elara whispered, her voice a gentle breeze that seemed to caress Samuel's skin. "You have set me free." And with that, Elara was gone, leaving behind a sense of stillness and peace. The chamber seemed to sigh with relief, as if the very walls themselves rejoiced in Elara's liberation. Samuel knew that he had fulfilled his purpose, that he had unraveled the mysteries that had bound Elara to the mansion for so long. As he left the chamber, the first light of dawn painted the horizon, casting a warm, golden hue over the land. Word of Samuel's encounter with Elara spread throughout Ravenswood, and the townspeople spoke of him with a mixture of awe and gratitude. The legend of the malevolent mirror had finally come to an end, replaced by a story of redemption and compassion. As the years passed, Blackwood Manor underwent a transformation. Its halls, once shrouded in darkness, now stood as silent sentinels, witnesses to a newfound serenity. The malevolent mirror became a relic of the past, a reminder of the power that lay within the hands of those who dared to seek the truth. And Samuel, forever changed by his encounter with Elara, continued to explore the mysteries of the supernatural. He knew that some stories could not be contained within the pages of a book, but instead lived on in the whispers of the wind and the shadows of the night, waiting to be discovered by those who dared to listen.